Hello, guys. So, welcome back to the Craig Campbell Show. You've got none other than Mr. Craig Campbell himself, actually, in the hot seat today.
Hello. I don't know
I'm
I'm actually quite worried.
Man, I was quite excited when Craig and I had a chat, and he was like, "Deepak, make sure you ask me proper questions." So, guys, you already know who Craig is. There's none of the talk to us about your journey in SEO. There's going to be none of the what is the latest happenings in SEO. Well, to a degree there might be. There's going to be a whole combination of things. What I want to start with first of all, Craig, is you've got, and this is something that I saw from just even getting to know you as I entered the kind of SEO space, and I watched a couple of videos that I've seen from your YouTube. You've got quite a what's the word to say? Rebellious, maybe, approach to SEO, or counterintuitive. How do you deal with the fact that, a lot of the time, when you talk about, for example, Blackhat SEO or PBNs, there's a lot of people in the mainstream that you probably end up pissing off because of the brand that you've got and the voice that you've got, and they think that you're advocating stuff that's, Blackhat. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, yeah, you're right. You do get, people who hate you and, dislike what you're saying and all that kind of stuff. And I've never really advocated or tried to ram it down someone's throat as such. I always do say to people at the start of any of those topics, and people never listen to the start of the conversation where I say, here is some tactics that a friend of mine may be doing, or shit that I've heard along the way, or just crazy stuff that people have done to make money. And I've done that at a talk, and all of a sudden, people were taking snippets of the talk and saying I was, a cheat and a scamster, and all of this kind of crazy stuff. And half of the stuff that I was saying wasn't even stuff that I've done. But because I talk to people about Black Hat stuff, automation, tools and stuff like that, I like it. I'm not going to lie. I like cheating. I think I'd rather cheat and win than play fair and lose. And I think you've got to be able to understand, no matter whether you are in SEO or some other type of business, you need to understand the game you're playing fully. And that also means what tricks are going on, or how to break stuff, or how to protect yourself against these things happening, or anything like that. So I'm not a guy that condones the use of absolutely sabotaging someone's business or anything like that. If there's a loophole in Google, why not? But certainly a lot of people have the impression that I'm some weird hacker and things like that as well, which I'm not. And obviously, I think I've got a lot of ethics. I would never really damage someone's business or
so what do PR people say to you then when you get approached by a PR person talking about your brand? What is the picture they sell you versus the name that you're trying to build for yourself? I'm quite curious to understand what was your intention when you went on kind of the Craig Campbell journey versus the perception that people have of you, or whether they're even things that you think about ever.
Do you know what? I don't really think about it too much. I think when I started out, I wanted to. I don't want to talk about the usual boring stuff like site audits or content marketing, because you're talking about that, and every other Tom, Dick, and Harry's talking about that. Where am I going to fit into that space? I'm just going to be another guy saying the same old shit. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about things that people are maybe less inclined to talk about. And I do, as I say, find that side of it enjoyable. Whether I implement everything or not is a different story, but I love hearing the way people think, the creative thinking outside the box that people do, and some funny stuff people have done to maybe trick Google or whatever it may be. But none of it is really malicious. I just find it fun, and as I say, I like to starting out in my SEO journey, I used to believe in the white hat SEO thing and try to do everything the right way, and I was always poor.
You sound like a lawyer who lost his way, who started to try and fight for the little man, that discovered that fighting for the little man gets you no money, no return, no nothing.
So you've got to kind of play about a bit and make some money and do things, and try shit out basically. And as I say, I don't really care what other people think anyway. You know, I've had abuse online, I've had death threats online, I've had all of that kind of stuff. And as I say, every time I talk, it's to give, even if I help one person or make someone's way of thinking change slightly, then I've done it. I've done my job. You know, I'm not there to appease the masses, and I'm also not there to offend people either. You know, people have got their own beliefs and their own ways of working, so definitely not interested in fighting people.
And I'm fascinated as you say that, because you say that, and what I also see at the same time is this Scotsman who's got tattoos all up his arm, and I'm thinking, is there ever the perception that people think that is this how have you dealt with that, like the negative stereotype that people have as me as being an Indian person who's, you know, trying to sell $99 SEO versus yourself maybe who's trying to do one over on someone? Has that been a challenge through your career at all?
Of course. You know, I've had people looking at me, you know, and maybe suggesting that I'm a drug dealer, and things like that as well. And I think it's very easy to judge people, you know, like looking at you and going, he's Indian, so it must be low cost garbage. You know, that's a perception that people have got of Indian, you know, SEO. And that couldn't be further from the truth. There's a lot of smart ass Indians out there. If you rake under the, you know, the kind of, there are scammers in it, you know, every culture and everything. But if you rake under there's a lot of smart guys doing a lot of smart automation technically and everything else. And because you're Indian, you should certainly not be tarred with the same brushes, like, you know, the Fiverr sellers, you know, the gig sellers or whatever in Fiverr. And it's the same with me. People are looking at me going, tattooed, Scottish accent, wears shorts and a t-shirt. He must be a thug or a violent guy. But I think the more talks I've done and the more people I've interacted with, people have actually said, like, you're not what I thought. Not what I thought you were going to be. And as I say, I've had people throwing punches at me,
wow,
SEO and stuff.
And this is over SEO, mate. This is over, like, or is this a mixing of like barroom conversations about something?
No, all over SEO. People I never knew. Wow. Someone actually tried to punch my pregnant wife at Brighton SEO.
Are you kidding me?
No, and it was all based around someone didn't like a hoodie that I was wearing. It's a long story and it's all cleared up now, but so I was getting a bit of grief online. You know, as you do, and that's fair enough. People can give you grief, and but then obviously when people are giving grief online, other people take it upon themselves when they maybe bump into me to do something about it. And I got a bit of grief for that. So as I say, I don't know if that's a Scottish thing or the tattoo perception, or maybe because I do silly things on a video. People think, you know, let's fight with this guy or whatever. But you know, at the end of the day, never judge a book by its cover. And again, I've done that with clients. You know, I've had clients that I've looked up and down and went, he's not got the budget for this. And they've been some of the richest guys I know. You know, just because they don't dress well doesn't mean they have no money. You know, I've got a terrible dress sense.
We're all victims of stereotype, ironically, isn't it? You know, as much as people stereotype me, I stereotype others as well. If I have someone, unfortunately, if I have someone who approaches me from India, and I don't see much about their profile, I might make an assumption that, you know what, they're not going to have as much budget as a client. And then sometimes they turned out to be, and that's the crazy part, that I'm a victim of a stereotype that's projected upon me as well, if you know what I mean. Like, if you get approached in the bar by a Glaswegian with tattoos who's talking to you maybe about SEO for his plumbing site, you know, you may think, this guy's not going to have more than $500 a month, and you know, I'm not there anymore. Maybe. Yeah,
that's definitely, don't judge a book by its cover. I think, you know, 8 out of 10 times you might be right with your gut feeling, but there's certainly a lot of instances where you get it wrong, and I've had it wrong. People have done it, me and you. So I think you just have to take your time. Like, it's 2020. You're allowed to tattoo in your arm. It doesn't mean you're a psychopath, you know. And
do you think, though, at the same time, though, that this approach, because it has right to a degree, what's your feelings on people that say to you, Craig, your t-shirt and you know, your t-shirt and short styles costing you business? Why don't you slap a suit on?
Nah, fuck them. The end of the day, I couldn't give a fuck. There's enough money and enough people that kind of like the way that I.
Do you think that that's become your part of your brand? Because I feel that maybe that helps you more than anything else now, because it defines you in a way that, you know, no one else can emulate the Glaswegian with the tats who doesn't give a fuck about communicating what he feels passionate about.
Yeah, I think once you get a hold of a client or whoever it may be that you're talking to, once they can hear the knowledge that you're showing, or you pull up some analytics or, you know, some case studies, I think what you're delivering in terms of knowledge outweighs whether you're sitting there with tattoos or whatever. And I have had people saying to me when I have met them in the past, I'm really glad you didn't turn up with a suit on, because a lot of people actually hate those guys in suits. I think the world's evolving, and our industry is all about guys wearing jeans or t-shirts or you know whatever you wear, whatever I wear. I mean, you've got tattoos as well. You know, the tattooed bloody Indian. You're everything I've got, and you're Indian. But
that's cool. For the guys that listen to the audio, I was doing like I was wagging my fingers and being like, "Score." So I guess, what do you like talking about kind of the whole world of when and where then changing the tack slightly? Do you make a decision to, you know what, I've got to do something a little bit cheeky or black hat, because what I'm doing, whether it's an affiliate site or on a client site or anything, the ordinary approach is not working. Like, how do you make those decisions, and how do you determine whether or not that, you know what, this could ruin everything? How much of what you do is part, okay, this is tried and tested, but at any given time I'm making up 25% of what I'm doing as I go along?
You know, so I can't answer that specifically. You know, exactly. I've never set out to think, you know, of a website and go, right, I'm going to try something that's going to get it banned. You know, you hear people using stuff or strategies, and you go, that's working, so I'm just going to try it. But you know, I might change it. I might add my own spin on it. Whatever. I mean, I don't really feel there is a white hat and a black hat SEO as such. You know, things that move the needle in terms of SEO, you know, whether it be, you know, content on page, internal linking, site speed, link building, all of those things are all things that I do. The same as everyone else. You know, the where it becomes black hat is, I would be quite happy to pay for a guest post, and others will pretend that they don't. You know, it's agency bullshit talk, as far as I'm concerned. Now, agencies can say what the hell they like, that they do organic outreach and all this shit. There's no way that, I mean, they're buying these guest posts from, you know, I've got friends that sell guest posts, you know, some of the biggest vendors in the world. I know these agencies are lying, and I know they're paying for it, yet they'll say publicly, everything's organic, everything's outreach, everything's PR, and all that kind of bullshit. So I think what we need to differentiate is what the reality is and what is sales bullshit, you know, from an agency point of view.
But do you feel that you're quite insulated from that? I mean, it's you know, the argument could be that, well, Craig, you left agency land, so you've got a pedestal to talk about things that aren't going to impact the work that you do, whereas someone like Deepak, he runs an agency, and whether he is doing that or not is separate to how he's got to kind of package what he's positioning. In the same way that if everyone's talking about backlinks, Ross, when I had him on his show, said you got to productize what you offer, and you can't talk in the same way that everybody else does, because how can a client distinguish yourself? So I just wonder whether that's, you've got insulation that an agency guy won't have, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different game we play. You know, when you're running an agency and managing clients, what you say and how you present yourself have to be completely different. You can't say to the client, you know, I'm going to go and buy some guest posts from this guy, or, you know, do a bit of this and a bit of that. You have to fluff it up. You have to do that to charge your overinflated agency fees and all of that kind of stuff, because we're all here to make money, and I have no issue with that whatsoever. But it's a very different game, whereas I'm doing it from my affiliate website, so I can be a lot more straight talking. Whether I'm speaking at events, I can say, right, I just bought this, I've done that, and it worked. And, you know, the problem we have here is agencies are set out to keep clients happy. So we've got the whole hand-holding.
And do you think there's an inherent problem there?
Yeah,
with
definitely.
What a client wants and what they actually need. Like, you don't like the medicine, so I've got to wrap it up in licorice.
That's pretty much it. I mean, for you, I'm not saying you do
No,
this.
no. Go ahead.
Just hypothetically, for you to charge a client $5,000 a month, and you've got an agency and you've got 10 staff and a nice office, you're going to have to charge them $5,000 a month. And how much of that actually goes into deliverables on the website, whether that's content, links, or anything else? You probably find that less than half of that budget actually goes into any work being done. The rest of it's frittered away on overhead and meetings and tools and all that shit. So for $5,000 using an agency, you probably get less than 50% spent on your website, in terms of actual money spent on your website. So for $2,500, so agencies are charging $5,000 for $2,500 worth of SEO. I think that's a really hard sell.
Do you not think though at the same time that, these clients, as you've identified, they come with their own management, with the phone calls, with the reporting, with the expectations, with there's a lot of people that probably want that presentation, right? In the same way that there's people that don't care versus the people that would just never touch, an Indian or a Scotsman with tattoos with a barge pole. They'd be like, it's not really a fit for Deloitte or whatever it might be.
Tell me this. So if someone pays you $5,000 a month, for hypothetically, and they want 3 meetings that month, they want 20 phone calls, and they want all this reporting, how much work's actually getting done? How much actual SEO work gets done? Zero. Because there's nothing left in the pot to be able to manage that client and deal with all that bullshit and all that expectation. Maybe take them out for a beer and wine and dine them and give them all the bullshit to get them to pay their next invoice. There's nothing left to pay for guest posts or any kind of work to be done, and that's what gets very frustrating for me, because I'm more of I love hearing about a new strategy or a new tool or a new plugin, and I'll run away and try it out on my website, do the job. I don't want to talk shit about it for hours and hours and hours and making it sound better than it is. So I think, what agencies do is it's a thankless task. It's horrendous dealing with clients. And you deserve all the money, for that. But as the deliverable, my argument would be, if you're dealing with all that shit, there's only so much you can assign in terms of time to a client. So if you're dealing with all that bullshit, are you able to do the best job you can? And the answer's got to be no. It has to be, because time is money. So,
and how did you? What's really interesting about this is that it's evident, and I think you've gained a reputation for being very pragmatic, I think, in your approach about talking about I'm Craig, this is what I believe works based upon, data that I've got or data that I've been exposed to. And these are some of the experiments people that I know are trying. How did you actually make the transition? Because when you're running an agency and, you kind of build your own, I mean, for anybody, right? This is not just about an agency. These are businesses in general. The income model with affiliate marketing is night and day versus a service-driven model, right? But a lot of people, like myself, for example, or Ross, for example, we're running agencies, they're growing. It's really difficult to just make that transition, because you've got, how did you, I want to just kind of practically understand how you did it, or was your circumstance different? And then we'll go on to how would you advise someone to actually do it?
So, how did I do it? It was more a combination of different things. I'll be totally honest. I've never really told many people this before. I actually started to suffer from anxiety and depression.
Oh, wow.
I had an agency, and part of the reason was I couldn't switch off. So when I went home at night, I'd be thinking, oh shit, I never done that for that guy, and my head would be buzzing and I couldn't sleep, and it'd be 2 a.m. and I would jump up and get on the laptop and do stuff. And I found it very hard to switch off. And that obviously, and starting a small business and building it up, you'll know yourself how many hours you put in. You put in 60, 80, 100 hours a week trying to get off the ground, going to meetings on the weekends, everything. And I think when I was building an agency, I'd done it for too long. And, it was a slow, I didn't, massively just build up this big agency. It took years to build it up. I employed the wrong people. And I was very selfish in the way that I'd set my business up. I would not delegate and didn't really trust anyone round about me. So every invoice had to be done by me. Every client meeting had to be done by me. All of the work, so I had content writers.
You sound like you'd be a fucking terrible agency owner, Craig.
Oh, I was.
You don't want to give work away.
Fucking horrendous, but it's just the nature of me. I wanted to check everything. I wanted it to be the best it could be.
Okay, yeah.
What I'd done was actually nearly fucking killed myself because I had anxiety, depression, all because of working too hard, couldn't switch off. And I tried to seek help. I went to, hypnotherapist.
What's the timeline on this? When was this? What year was this when you were suffering from the anxiety and the depression?
Probably 2015, I think it was.
Okay. And at that stage, how many years into agency land were you?
I was about 5 or 6 years into the agency land. And I thought to myself, this fucking cannot go on. I stood up in my office one day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I felt dizzy. I felt just dizzy. And I thought, Craig, you've done no work. I was firefighting the same shit. You get emails, websites blown up, all that shit. I stood up. I felt physically sick, dizzy. And I thought at 3 a.m., you've done no fucking work. And I just looked around and I had all these staff and I thought, this is not fucking working. I didn't have that much money in the bank because every time money builds up, and you'll probably understand this, you have a pot of money in the bank and then it comes to payday and it all goes. And then it drops out and you're like, fuck, I need to replace that because I need to hit X amount of money to be able to pay all the overhead.
The cash flow that comes in is paying for my upcoming credit card bill. It's like, okay, great. My credit card, like my Amex credit card goes out on the 27th. At the moment, I think there's maybe 14, 15 grand on there. So the money that I've got in my account is bogus. It's like, you know what? It's not my money. It's American Express's fucking money.
I think when I was starting out an agency, it was cool going down to the pub and saying to your mates, yeah, I've got 10 staff and, I'm doing this and doing that and acting all flash. The reality is you're fucking poor as fuck, stressed as fuck. And it's for me, I was I had problems, in terms of I wasn't experienced in business, I wasn't experienced in delegation and stuff like that. If I was to build an agency now, of course, it would be a lot different. But back then, I just found it very stressful. I didn't have the right people surrounding me. And that was obviously down to me. I hired the wrong people.
Were you a solo founder at that time, or was there like a partner that you were in the trenches with or anything like that?
No, just me.
That's hard, isn't it? It's difficult. I mean, I'm alone. I didn't start alone. I became alone, but I find it hard to do stuff. I still, and I'm curious about yourself. I still get into the habit of wanting to get into partnerships where really there's not really that balance of like, I'll contribute this, I'll contribute that. I think some of it comes from my fear or insecurity of being like, you know what, it's hard to do shit alone.
It's hard to do shit alone. It really is. And I'd love to have had a partner. One of the problems I had with the agency model as well was I had this guy employed as a kind of sales guy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to sit in the background and let him do all the sales and all the reporting and all that bullshit because he wasn't an SEO guy. He was just a good communicator. And a year into it, the guy turned around and said, I want to go and start up in my own. I'm like, for fuck's sake. I've educated him for a year, got him up to a decent level. He wasn't earning great money, and obviously he felt that
he could earn more. He's like, I'll do better,
and he jumped ship, and he could have taken all the clients, and he didn't take the clients or nothing like that. But when I was phoning up the clients, they were like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Fuck me." So I've left myself in a right wide open position here. And it was at that point where I said, Craig, everything has to come through you. You can't trust anyone. Staff trying to fuck me over, web developers, you give them work and they try and pinch the SEO as well. And, you know yourself. It's bloody hard to get trustworthy people here. I know there's lots of them out there, but, finding them's not that easy.
It's a real challenge. Even for myself, one of the things I've been very conscious of is almost to do a massive effort of building my brand faster than the pace of maybe our expertise within SEO were in the beginning, because I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to insulate myself so that people feel that there's a kind of brand experience, if you will, and I can totally identify with that. And along that journey, then, when your sales guy's basically up shit, you're calling all these folk. You're like, hey, I'm the actually man behind the curtain. what happened? I mean, like, because financially you've got your overheads. Did you just sack your staff and then start the affiliate thing, or like I want to? Yeah, I'd love to understand the mechanics of what actually happened, and also. You're a bit anxious. You're feeling depressed, and what did that come after he left though? Did it come after the sales guy left, or was it all mixed in? Like, what's the timeline?
Kind of all happening at the same time. So what happened? That was about 2015. I think I had the agency up until about 2016.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was like, Craig, you have to build your own brand. No one knows who you are, which is the whole reason why I launched, CraigCampbellSEO.com and started doing all the speaking and everything. But it probably took me about 18 months. It wasn't an instant pivot. I didn't just go, you have to get out. I knew what I had to do. I was, had my fingers burnt, or maybe had a fight with that guy up in sticks and leaving, and no one knew who I was.
Yeah.
I thought, Craig, you have to change this. And, so I started my own blog whilst I still had the agency, got some speaking gigs, started to get involved with SEMrush and webinars and all that kind of stuff. While still doing client work, and I was basically using the client's money to kind of help me, get off on.
That's part of the journey, I think, for anyone. Is like, part of the money is reinvesting in growth ultimately, and it's not the growth just of the client. Of course, it's the growth of yourself. I mean, you put $1, you put $1 in to buy a pair of sunglasses. They don't spend the whole fucking dollar on the sunglasses producing it, do they? Because they're like, well, I've got to pay for my bills. I've got to pay for my electric. I also want to make some profit to pay for, my holiday at the weekend. Yeah. And that part sounds completely normal. So during this journey then, like the 18, I like that, because that for me, that feels realistic. The 18-month pivot. Yeah. I like that because when you've got a lot of, I don't know, technical architectural debt, you've got what was the name of the agency, by the way?
Pro Website Solutions.
Okay, cool. Pro Website Solutions. So what was kind of last day close of business for Pro Website Solutions, or when it had completely morphed, then Pro Website Solutions as it was known no longer existed?
So it was obviously, as I say, an 18-month pivot. So what I'd done was stopped hiring other people. The plan was always to get rid of people. People, as you know, come and go, content writers and whatnot.
Yeah.
When people started to drop off, I retained 6 people.
Okay.
To this day. So I think I had 17 staff at one point. I always knew that I wanted to go away with a handful of staff because I'm always going to need someone to do a bit of this, a bit of that.
Because Craig Campbell isn't just Craig Campbell, really, is it? I mean, this is the thing that I always like. In a sense, you left agency land, but you've probably still got an agency infrastructure. I mean, you're not writing all of your own content. You're not manually doing your own outreach, whether it's to negotiate about buying a post or whether it's emailing someone or whatever it is, because you're fucking on a plane the whole time. You're in Chiang Mai. You're in the Kiev.
No, I mean, you've got to have a team. Like, for example, I do a lot of videos. So I've got a video girl in the office who edits and does all that and uploads it and stuff like that. I've got 6 people in the office, all of who do these things that I don't like to do, which is pretty much everything, to be honest. So I've got a guy, Colin, who is a business partner. Stupidly didn't want a business partner before and thought, I'm going to build, I'm going to be the next, whoever, Elon Musk or something, do it on solo. And I think that was stupid. So I got a business partner involved, and obviously retained a lot of staff, people who do admin, people who do content, people who are good at SEO, and I've also got a web developer there as well. And that kind of infrastructure allows me to quickly, post stuff out on my behalf on my website. I can.
Are you not publishing your own content, Craig? Is it a ghostwriter? Are you doing a? No
ghostwriters. A lot of the content is done by me. It's obviously I'm borderline dyslexic. It's just never been diagnosed. So, part of the process there is obviously it goes through other people who.
You probably.
stuff. So the knowledge comes from me. The videos are obviously me in the videos. I don't think you'll ever find two people good looking as me. So I don't have a body double or anything. But yeah, every good business, small or big or whatever, always has a good core team. And I think one lesson I would like to say to people is don't be scared to delegate. Don't be scared to get a business partner either.
Yeah.
The business partner, the guy that I lost who went to start up on his own, if I had maybe made him a business partner, would he have hung around for longer?
Do you think that was you being a bit stingy ultimately in hindsight? Is that what you think it was? Like, what's your opinion on why he upped and said, you know what, Craig, screw you, in a nice way, I'm going to go up and set up? Like, why? What would you have done differently?
It wasn't me being stingy, because he was hired as a sales guy and always took a wage, and there was times where he was taking a wage and I wasn't, because the business couldn't sustain that.
Yeah.
So he was quite happy to take money. So he is effectively an employee. So why would he get anything, in terms of, because he never put anything in terms of money or anything like that. So, I think if someone's taking a wage and they're a taker, then they're essentially an employee, if you like. And that, it was me who put the money up front for, the office and the staff and everything else. So it was just a kind of matter of circumstances. And obviously, potentially I could have got him in and gave him 20% or, something like that. And if I could go back, I probably would change it. But I think, as a young guy, first time in business and all that stuff, you make a lot of mistakes, and it's easy to go back in hindsight and say, I would have done this or I would have done that or whatever. But it's part of the journey, and the setup I've got now, I wouldn't change. So,
I want to ask you about that. Sorry to interrupt, because I've got. You're quite journeyed in business now, I'd say. You've been through a lot of different things. It's a vague question, and I hate asking. I hate people that ask it, but I feel like I should ask it. Like, what are your kind of general, not about building an agency, not about building an affiliate website, but what's your general advice on, like, for anyone who wants to be entrepreneurial, become an entrepreneur or business owner? Like, are there some key characters or things that you think that someone like that needs to do to succeed?
I think it's a hard one, because I think entrepreneurs are a different type of person. I think, and I don't know if it's something you can give someone advice on being one of these. You either have it or you don't.
We don't like the answer, Craig. We don't.
For me, sitting in an office where a man or a woman or whoever it may be tells you what time you can leave at, or maybe pulls you up for taking a piss for too long, or things like that, I very quickly found out that I wasn't prepared to accept instruction from someone like that. And I'm unemployable. So I'm not unreasonable, but you just as a young guy, you're just like, do you know what? I can't fucking work for people. I want to work when I want to work. If I want to work at 11 at night on a Sunday because I'm bored out my tits, I'll do that, and I'll take Monday morning off.
So number one, we've got the intrinsic desire to not feel comfortable in a work environment. What else is there then? What else? Because I'd agree with that also. I think that definitely makes sense in my experience. What other qualities do you think need to be present, or does someone need to strive towards then to make shit happen?
One thing you have to have is a kind of not give a fuck attitude. I think there's a lot of people out there who start out in business who have mentored or helped, trained or whatever, and they're very cautious and they overthink everything and overcomplicate everything. Whereas I think, guys like you, and without knowing you in depth, I can tell that you don't care and you're prepared to take a chance and a risk and all that kind of stuff. And guys like Ross or various other guys that we all know who have successful businesses are guys that have taken an element of risk. Now, I know other people who would piss the bed at the thought of taking those risks. So I think you have to not give a fuck, be prepared to take a risk. And you've got this inner fight in you to say, fuck this, I'm going to do this and I'm going to win. I'm not going to be a, bitch in someone else's office or whatever it may be. And I think those are traits that I look for. I can tell, I've had people in my office interviewing them, and I've thought, I can't hire you because you're that guy that's just going to fucking milk everything off of me. and fuck off and do it on your own. And you can just you can smell it a mile away.
Yeah.
And you're that type of guy.
Yeah.
If you came to me for an interview, I'd be saying, Deepak, away. To meet you, you're probably really good at what you do, but I ain't fucking, you're not having my fucking business.
Yeah.
So I think that inner desire and not overthinking things and being able to simplify things. Like, you'll probably say, everyone I know that has their own business says it's not really that hard to do it. It's not. It's you just go with the flow and shit happens. And if something breaks, then resolve it. Like, and there's other people who would, have 50 pages of a business plan and And do you really need that stuff? No, it's just waffle. It's garbage. So for me, an entrepreneur doesn't give a fuck.
So let's talking of tools and skill sets, and you've just described yourself, by the way, mate. Just so you know, like you literally just described yourself to an absolute T. So brilliant. What is in Craig Campbell's tool stack? Now, not just the SEO shit. I just mean generally. What do you use for your accounting? What do you use for, like, what are your go-tos? What are the apps on your phone? Can you just give us a rundown of Deepak? These are the entire tools I use across the board.
So accounting, we'll start with that because you always need money. First and foremost. I use a tool called Free Agent. So Free Agent works really well. You can set up recurring invoices. I think it's about $35 a month. My accountant just goes in and takes the data out and does whatever the fuck it is he does. It's semi-automated. So Free Agent for that. In terms of apps and stuff, I use Slack to talk to people, WhatsApp, Skype, various, text messages.
Name us 5 kind of non-standard ones. Give us the 5 non-standard ones that would surprise people a little bit. So the Facebook, Skype, none of that stuff matters. Let's talk about the 5 non-standard ones.
Fucking hell.
You asked for hard questions, mate.
Hard questions. Let me check. I'm just checking my Chrome.
No, go ahead.
My toolbar here. So
I've guys, for you that are listening, I've self-imposed a 45-minute deadline. We're on 37 minutes, so I'm going to really heat it up now with fast and furious questions I'm going to throw at Craig in the last 8 minutes. So you got another 3 minutes on this one, mate.
So I've got follow-up CC, which is a Gmail extension, which allows me to be able to see who's opened my emails and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But what's quite cool about that extension is I can schedule emails as well. So if I'm typing my emails out on a Sunday, I can make it look like it's sent out on a Monday morning. So
brilliant. Follow-up CC.
Follow-up CC.
Okay, we've got 1. There's 4 more.
I've got Contact Out.
I know of that, but I don't fucking know what it does. What does it do in a nutshell?
If I need to get a hold of someone on LinkedIn, so I go to the LinkedIn profile, then just click on the Chrome extension Contact Out, and it'll get me the person's email address. So if I need to get with the top boy at wherever it may be, then I can go straight to him and get that. So Contact Out.
Perfect. That's 2. So follow-up CC, Contact Out. Give us 3 more.
I'll give you another one that's not actually out yet. It's called Traffic Jet from SEMrush. This?
No, I don't. So Anton, you fucker. We'll talk separately. Go on, carry on.
Anton isn't actually to blame for this. It's out a part of the thing. So Traffic Jet is it's like Google AdWords and everything else, Facebook and all that. So it automatically does ads for you. So you can put in there 500 quid, and because SEMrush has got all the data for SEO and everything else all get in there, you can tie it up with your Facebook pixel and everything else, and it will spend the best 500 quid you've ever got on ads. It's called Traffic.
Oh wow, that sounds fucking amazing, mate. All right, brilliant. So Traffic Jet is number 3. So we've got follow-up CC, Contact Out, Traffic Jet. 2 more.
Linked Helper. So Linked Helper does a lot of LinkedIn automation. Views people and all that kind of stuff, and endorses them, and can automatically send new connections messages and all that.
You still prospect, Craig? I'll ask you that later. Let's carry on going. So Linked Helper is a good one. That's a good one. That makes sense. And then we got 30 seconds for the final one.
Sprout Social, I do that to schedule stuff on social media, so I look more active than I actually am. So all that shit's scheduled. Sorry, guys, if you're disappointed.
I love it. I love it. So, guys, we got follow up CC, we've got contact out, we've got traffic jet, we've got linked helper, and we've got Sprout Social. Free agent was a bonus. Craig has given. There's 6 tools that Craig Campbell uses. Now I want to come as we move into the final five minutes. Do you prospect, Craig? I thought that you use linked helper. That interested me. Do you need to prospect anymore, or how does it work with you? I mean, what would you? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Talk about that a little bit.
So no, I don't prospect anymore. No need to, because as
lucky for some, eh? Please continue.
But it's just a habit. I've always just kept using it and automating it. And what happens is you just engage in random conversations. You look at people's profiles and it still manipulates that, and then you get talking to someone or whatever it may be. But what I tend to do is not prospect people for client work. Normally conference people and stuff like that. So they'll look at me and then they go, "Oh, fuck this guy," and may have spoke here or whatever. So just to give people a nudge in the right direction in terms of trying to find speaking opportunities.
So let's talk about that then. Your speaking opportunities. You went, as you said, from agency owner behind the scenes or to international fucking speaker. How'd you do it? Specifically,
I have no fucking idea. All just blagged me. I think I was on Digital Olympus, was the first ever thing I spoke on, which was Alexandra Takalova's online conference.
Yeah.
And from there, someone from SEMrush approached me and said, "We really liked the way you spoke. Do you want to come and do a Twitter chat?" So I'd done the Twitter chat. They liked the answers. But I'm unknown at this point. No one knows who the fuck I am.
What year is this, all of this, just for timeline?
Probably 2016.
Okay, all right, cool.
So not that long ago, 3-4 years ago. And Anton actually reached out to me, but Anton wasn't at SEMrush yet.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the people.
Doesn't matter. We've got 2 more minutes before I go into my final rounds. Keep going, mate. Keep going, mate.
So Anton got in touch, said, "Do you want to be in SEMrush webinars?" And then SEMrush webinars, other people were saying, "Do you want to speak here?" And obviously I started pitching to speak at other events, and it all just blew up from there. And I've done all right. Got a reputation now.
Dude, brilliant. Do you get paid for conferences or do you not get paid, Craig Campbell?
Some yes, some no. In most cases, the answer is no. I think, and at the best you're going to get from most conferences would be your expenses paid for, your travel and accommodation.
Why do you do speaking conferences then, Craig Campbell, if your money comes primarily from affiliates marketing? Or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Building your brand is certainly not a bad thing. Building your email list, building your authority, and everything else out there. So for me to be seen as a top guy in terms of, why would you watch my SEMrush tutorial more than, someone else's?
Yeah.
Because I'm a speaker and I've been here and I've been there. So I think building your brand doesn't just help you win clients. It can build, your email list. It can build your social following. It can build a whole lot of other stuff that you can then go on and money.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Training courses, people will want training courses from me because they see me speaking at this event and delivered, a good talk or whatever.
Okay, so in our final minute and a half, 2 questions. The first one is, have conferences delivered for you then in terms of like other work that you generated as a consequence of being at a conference?
100%.
Okay.
The opportunities that arise, all you need is a couple of good opportunities from any one conference. Just a conversation with a guy, a guy comes up and says, "Craig, I really liked what you talk. I run this big company here. Do you want to come over and train my staff because I like your style," or whatever? These kind of conversations just crop up, and all you need for them to make that conference really worth your while.
Okay. Brilliant. No, I love it. And that's what my final question is: what is the one thing that you wish you had known 5 years ago that would have changed your business that you know now?
There's fucking loads.
That's why it's hard. Pick one.
Delegate. The delegation and outsourcing. You don't have to do everything yourself. everything in digital marketing can essentially 100% be outsourced or delegated to another member of staff. And 5 years ago, I wasn't doing it. I was trying to do it all myself. So don't be a fool. Work smart. Delegate. Your time is more valuable working on your business rather than in your business.
Guys, this was Craig Campbell of Craig Campbell. My name is Deepak Shukla. Buddy, I had such a good time talking with you, and fucking hell, I love the fact that I'm getting to know you mostly through me coming on your show, and then you giving me the wonderful opportunity to ask you a load of awkward questions. So Craig is probably going to smack me in the face once we come off air, but buddy, it's been a real pleasure talking to you, mate.
No worries. Thank you very much for doing it.
Oh, anytime, my friend.
Cheers, man.